the most trending comics in the world, and my name is on number 10 on the list. Mark Spears Monsters, number 1, the 5th printing, but this is the 1 in 20 Evil Dead 2 homage. And you love Evil Dead, don't you?
I do. I think Evil Dead is a fantastic movie, and any single time that you get an opportunity to toss a little bit of an homage to such a classic film, you just got to do it.
This book was hot right out the gate, and instead of a credits list on like a traditional movie poster, it's a shout out list on this homage with a bunch of names that I recognize. We got Swaggle on there, Brian McClay, shout out Dennis, shout out Davis Ryder, and yours truly was on there as well. And Rockin' Robbie. Big thank you to Mark Spears for throwing my name on the cover. I had to keep my copy for my PC to hopefully get signed in the future. And if you can't afford this 1 in 20, go for the open to order issue number 1, cover A. It's a gorgeous, distressed version featuring Dracula.
It is so great to see the recognition for everyone working so hard in the community. And you know Mark is working really, really hard because he has a new project. Congratulations to him. He is now doing connecting covers for the Absolute Trinity, Absolute Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. He is doing the 7th printing connecting cover. That's on FOC June 2nd, and it is a banger.
Hit that subscribe button. We make this video every single week for the comic book community, and I love this next Silver Age book on the list from 1965. We have Amazing Spider-Man issue number 20. First appearance of the Scorpion. Matt Gargan goes full villain in this issue. And when you think of most of Spider-Man's rogues gallery, the villains that come to mind, like Doc Ock, the Vulture, these are like single-digit debuts in the Spider-Man run, and they're very pricey. But this is one of those first villain keys that you can go for and not break the bank.
A lot of collectors try to bite off the whole Amazing Spider-Man run, and this is one of those first keys that they kind of dip their toe in because you can get a copy for $200 to $300, a respectable lower grade, but still a nice reader copy. Although we are reporting a 3.4K average sale, and that takes into account that we recently saw a 9.4 sell for $6,600. That was just in April of this year. But we are really seeing a 375% increase in copies sold because of some big news.
We haven't seen Scorpion since the post-credit scene of Spider-Man Homecoming, so I'm assuming he's been in prison this whole time. Well, the reason why we're seeing this uptick in copies sold week over week is because, I want to make sure I read this right, a sizzle reel featured at the Disney Blockbuster Consumer Products panel.
Now, I don't know anybody who was at this panel, but information has been leaked in spite of the fact that they said nobody can use their cameras. We saw a teaser about the Avengers, a teaser about Grogu, and 3 different villains that could very well be in the next Spider-Man movie.
Tombstone and Boomerang were both villains on that list. Now, this is from a leaker who was supposedly at this panel, so go soft on the spec until we actually see more proof, but it doesn't sound too crazy that the panel would showcase things in the future, because that's why they do these events, to get ahead of production for toys and such.
This next book is something I did not see coming. Number 8 on the list, Superman, A Friendship Unleashed. Number 1, we have a Milkbone promotional comic book. It's a comic book that comes with a box of dog biscuits, and it is going crazy.
Yo, I love how you just said that, because it's actually the opposite. It is dog treats that come with a comic book, but collectors are not thinking about it in that way.
Nope.
We have $60 average sales, $75 high raw sales. We have the Milkbone Dog Company releasing these small dog treats. It was a limited release, and it came with this comic that features Crypto in conjunction with the Superman film coming out in just a couple months. This comic book sold out right. This dog treat with comic books sold out right away off the website. And Bleeding Cool has a synopsis of this 12-page story. It reads, a day of play for Superman and Crypto is interrupted by a crisis at Star Labs. While Crypto wrangles panicked dogs gone wild and Superman rescues endangered scientists, the super dog and his best friend must work together to save the day. The dog biscuits are $5.99, shipped with the comic book, and I think condition's gonna play a pretty big factor. How do you think a dog food company is gonna ship a comic book?
Oh, not well at all.
Dude, Diamond can't even do it right. Well, I have a friend who got their hands on some dog treats and that comic book. They were part of the first wave. Let's see how they were shipped. Welcome, Davis Ryder, to the show. I hear you got some dog treats.
Yeah, so they literally just put the comic on top of the box of dog treats and put that in a bigger box with a minimal amount of packing paper. So if anything were to hit the box where the comic is totally done. And even so, luckily that didn't happen for mine, but it definitely bounces around a little bit. So mine came in like VF plus condition. I imagine that's how most of them will be. It was shipped all the way from Ohio, so it's got to go across the country to a lot of people. So it's going to be tough to get high grades in these.
Now, I see all of you collectors with your tails wagging, but really you need to calm it down a little bit because we have had a second wave. They actually were resolicited. You could buy the dog biscuits with a comic book again, and those shipments are going to be starting to come in. So people have been paying a lot for this. I'm sure the high grade copies, considering how poorly they were shipped with almost no protection at all whatsoever, are going to sell for a good amount of money. But right now, the fact that you can read the story online and more comics are coming, this is probably a good time to wait a little bit. And then a little follow-up thought. I know a lot of guys from my generation remember buying the toy that came with the box of cereal, right? I think we need to do more promotions like this. It was really big in the 80s and even in the early 90s that you would get, let's get some quick milk chocolate and get an Action Comics #1. Let's buy a board game and you could get a Pressman Comics
The
X-Men.
nostalgia is
right?
real with this one. It feels good. Like,
This
I know
is
it sounds
awesome.
weird and there's some people complaining, but I like this.
I
want to see.
absolutely do.
And part of me kind of, it may sound weird to say, but I kind of like that they're shipping them kind of shitty because like it makes books hard to get. And that's kind of the fun, right? It makes them rarer, because it's a dog food company. This isn't meant for collectors. I'm all here for it.
So the second wave was resolicited just Thursday of this last week, and it sold out in just an hour. But if you wanted to get in on the first wave, you should have had Key Collector because they did send out a key alert letting people know that this book was going on sale over at milkbone.com.
Use the code Tom101 to unlock a free 2-week subscription of the best comic app that we use every single day to keep up on comics that are being sold in very unique ways. They're going to tell you how they're being sold to get you ahead of the competition. Number 7 on the list, we warned you it was coming. We have Tombstone's first appearance in Web of Spider-Man issue number 36 from 1988.
$20 average sales, $350 for CGC 9.8, and an incredible 850% increase in copies sold this week.
Yo, that is a monster climb because this is a book that most people weren't specking on. However, we do see this character introduced in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man over on Disney+, but it's a different version of the character that we are likely going to see as soon as Spider-Man 4.
Tombstone has really been a lot of places lately, and it's not just Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the animated. He was a major character in the Zeb Wells Amazing Spider-Man run. And we actually talked about him a couple years ago when we had the Bad Bunny El Muerto.
Oh, that's
That
right.
was supposed to be a thing that was happening,
That's
right?
crazy.
But Tombstone, when I first saw this, I was actually thinking it would lend itself a little bit more to the muted and gray tones of Spider-Man Noir.
Oh, I like that. We got some double spec happening for a character that's never been seen in live action to date. So that's pretty hype. And get to hunting. I did some research for this number and found some other interesting news. Stephen Yen, who you know as Glenn from Walking Dead, who was actually supposed to play Sentry in the Thunderbolts or the New Avengers, well, apparently he's put in his hat in the ring to portray Mr. Negative.
Which is great because we now have another villain potential for this project. So keep your eye on his first appearance, which would be ASM 546, Brand New Day, and that free comic book day, 2007.
Join the mystery mail call 1 per box John Boy Myers Dallas Fan Expo foil variant. We have Battlebeast #1. I have under 200 boxes left for signups right now. So go to comictom.com. Join the community and support all of this. You get 4 to 5 comics in your box, plus a print, and you're guaranteed that Dallas Fan Expo variant.
Number 6 on the list, I alluded to this already, Spider-Man Noir #1. This, I'm so excited. I am so excited about this. So $180 average sales and $615 for a recent CGC 9.8, but 111% increase in copies sold this week because we now have a trailer, a first look at this television series. And we haven't had a Spider-Man television series in years, decades, actually. He's been in movies. He's showed up lots of places. Animated stuff, I know doesn't really count, but as far as really this looks amazing. It really gives me this like Sin City meets Dick Tracy vibe. And I am a huge fan of Nicolas Cage, so I am 100% in on this.
Nicolas Cage taking us back to the 1930s Great Depression, a very different version of Peter Parker that I think the mainstream is going to be surprised to see unless they've watched the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse animated films, because Nicolas Cage debuted this character in those movies already. So people are kind of primed for him to show up in live action, and it's heading to Amazon Prime. And we got about a year to wait. It's coming out in 2026.
I'm even hearing rumors that they're planning on releasing it in black and white and in color. And really, anyone who's watching this in color, you're doing it wrong, because you have to keep in mind that back in the late 30s and early 1940s, we had Superman dailies, Captain America, Batman dailies that were shot and released in black and white. This Spider-Man fits in perfectly with those original versions of these characters.
This is very similar to like Werewolf by Night, Godzilla -1. I want to know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think this could be a sleeper hit like I do? Keep in mind there is a cover B that you can look for, but I think the big book to spec on, if you are banking on Nicolas Cage, Spider-Man Noir, is that Newsy. Number 5 on the list is Tales to Astonish 81 from 1966. We have the first appearance of the Boomerang. $75 average sales, $97 for a CGC 9.0. This book is actually pretty tough and high grade. There are only 33 copies at a 9.4, 9 copies of a 9.6, and 1 copy of a 9.8, and we've never seen that 9.8 sell publicly.
Tales to Astonish is a great Silver Age run that, aside from the really major keys like 13 Groot, 27 Hank Pym, and then 44 Wasp, you're really looking at a bunch of stuff that is kind of fun, kind of great to read, but all of the later run, the things that are the Hulk Submariner stuff, they're just really, really cheap. This is a great way to get into Silver Age with nice reader copies at good, low entry-level copies. And when something like this spikes, all of a sudden you have a key that we might care about, because there's potential that we could see this guy as a villain in the next Spider-Man movie.
We're seeing near 1,000% increase in copies sold in 7 days after this news broke. And I think that proves your point, Russ. People were not just specking on this book. This book's out there. You can get it. It's very attainable, but they're so affordable that it's just easy spec that is super safe. You know, you're not going to break the bank on this one. But also, out of the list of characters that we read, Scorpion, Tombstone, Boomerang is like the least cool one. It's probably going to be the least featured in film. So here's the thing. We just got updates on release schedule changes that may make these leaks incorrect or change, because this movie, Spider-Man 4, was supposed to come out after Avengers Doomsday, but was supposed to be a prequel to the movie. So you see the aftermath of Doomsday, but then you see what Spider-Man was doing during that time. But Spider-Man is supposed to come out July 2026.
The original release date of May 1st, 2026 would have actually put that almost 2 full months ahead of the Spider-Man movie. But we just got news this morning that they are pushing Avengers Doomsday well into December of 2026. And in another coordinating move, they are moving Secret Wars from May of 27 to December of 2027. So there's a lot of stuff getting moved and shifted in the Marvel Universe. Does that mean we're going to see a longer time for them to release the Spider-Man movie?
Or does it mean that it's going to change the narrative and change the spec entirely? They haven't begun filming these films yet.
Even last week, we were talking about the long delay between Ironheart and the new Ironheart show. So that's why spec like this, if it's really low entry level and you can get in for between 20 and $100, that might be a good time to pick it up. But it's not going to come to fruition anytime soon.
Number 4 on the list, Spawn number 5, the first appearance of Shirley Johnson. Because of the curse of Shirley Johnson finally being released this past week, we have a cover A, we have a cover B and C, both by McFarlane, and a 1 in 50 Ryan Ottley variant. And those McFarlane covers were clearly the choice of collectors. They sold out at every LCS that I'm around.
We are reporting $8 sales and $107 CGC 9.8 on this book. And we actually even saw a sale last month of a newsstand copy, the more scarce one, for $200 in a CGC 9.8. Now, all of the kids that I know were collecting comics back in the day, they all read Spawn. Every single one of them bought at least 1 through 12, if not 1 through 20. So I know you've read this, but you may not remember Shirley Johnson or this character. And I think that's one of the reasons why people kind of forgot about it. This came out this week, and all of a sudden I have customers going, wait a second, I didn't know who this was. I didn't buy this book. So we're seeing a 307% increase in copies sold of her first appearance.
Written by Daniel Henriquez and art by Jonathan Glapian. And hot damn, dude, he went all out on this. The Hellscape pages, the double page spreads, like it is a beautiful comic book. As someone who's not as up on Spawn as they should be, I was a little confused reading this issue. You know, there's a lot of shout outs to stuff going on in the Spawn universe, and there's a lot going on. but I'm here for it.
If you're currently reading Spawn, or if you once read Spawn and fell by the wayside, you need to be picking up this series. Issue number 2 with the Dan Panosian cover is absolutely phenomenal.
Creepy as hell. FOC for that is June 30th. It comes out July 23rd. Number 3 on the list, Absolute Batman number 1. Dude, this book's hitting $30 average sales, $95 for a CGC 9.8. Those are some really respectable numbers for how heavily ordered this book was. And we got some drama in the comic book writing community right now. We have Absolute Bane debuting in issue number 9. And the creator of Bane got a glimpse of what Absolute Bane looks like, and he ain't happy.
Graham Nolan absolutely came out the instant we had photos of what Bane was supposed to look like in this, and he doesn't like it. And I don't like it either. Like, really,
like it?
I am not a huge fan. I'm such a fan of the original traditional Bane. Hey, I didn't like it when they messed up his voice. I mean, really, Bane for the purists. This is not a dude that sounds goofy. He doesn't sound like Tom Hardy's version of a Scottish Muppet, right? And this, his head's too small, his body's too big. This is just not a realistic depiction.
We have a 108% increase in copies sold week over week. And Absolute Batman is a juggernaut. This dude's like 6'6", 6'7", and Bane towers over him. It's got to put Bane at clear past 7 feet tall. This dude's going to be a mammoth.
Well, it's very clear that everyone is paying attention to everyone else because the writer Scott Snyder has actually come out and said that the Bane storyline is now called Abomination because that is exactly what Graham Nolan called it.
Keep an eye out on issue number 9 because it also says that Dick Grayson's going to make his first appearance in the Absolute run as an EMT of Gotham, not as Robin or Nightwing yet, but it's another first appearance to Spec on.
It is not a trending list if we're not talking about something that comes out of left field that nobody was specking on.
And from the dollar bin right now.
Oh my gosh. This one you can absolutely find in dollar bins all over the place because nobody was thinking about this book. Number 2 on the list, Justice League Europe, number 11. $3 average sales, only won 9.8 on the census. We've never seen it sold, so we have no idea what to report. So, hey, $3 book, guys, because there's a baby named Joey in there.
That's right. We also have a 9.2. We have seen the only other slab on the census sell before. It's a 9.2, and it went for $11 in 2022.
Wow.
This is the first appearance of Joseph Mason. This is baby Joey, the son of Metamorpho, who we know is going to be in the movie. But here's the thing. It doesn't look like the same character because we do see a toy released. Remember we're talking about like toys and how that impacts, the production of stuff? Well, McFarlane Toys released a baby Joey, and it's like a green little baby, kind of like a Funko type of toy. And I don't know what to say about it because this doesn't look like anything like the character, but its name is clearly Joey. And it's green, so it's probably related to the only other character. It kind of looks different. And yeah, an increase of copies sold of near 900% week over week.
Yeah, but Metamorpho's not green. Martian Manhunter's green. That's why this is so weird.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going with this. I mean, but Metamorpho is, a guy that can control different elements. He makes his body look different. So I'm sure there's some element that makes him look green. Or maybe his baby looks green. Or maybe the baby is what's causing other things to shape shift, kind of like what Metamorpho does with his body, but his baby does it to other things. And maybe that's how we get this like kaiju toy that was also released.
Metamorpho's cast in the movie. Paige Mobley's supposed to be playing Sapphire, and that would be Joey's parent. So while it doesn't look like the Joey that I know and love, or have at least acknowledged before, it's a potential. But this book, I mean, it blows my mind that this is on the list. And I've got something to do with dog treats that's way more exciting.
Yeah, that actually is pretty funny. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about all this Superman spec. And like, does this toy get you more hype for the movie? Because I'm seeing more people ridicule this release than anything else. Hit the like and subscribe. We make this video every week. We already told you about that because now we got to get to the number 1 hottest book, the most trending book in the world. And you probably bought it this last week. You're part of this percentage increase. We have Battlebeast number 1. The origin of Battlebeast seeing $4 average sales, which is cover price, but we do see an increase of copies sold of near 500%. This book went nuts, and all the variants went nuts. When you combine all the Battlebeast sales, This book is clearly number one.
The demand is massive. People are absolutely buying this book. They want the blind bags. They want the 1 in 2,000 sketches. They want the 1 in 1,000, 1 in 100, right? But the supply is huge. We actually told you last week that there were 400,000 of these made. And I personally don't believe that there are 400,000 people reading this comic book. So you have the collectors, you have the completionists, but that means that while some of these are really pie in the sky, tough variants to get, some are readily available. And that's why we're seeing the 1 in 10s go for basically cover price. 1 in 25s going for half of that. And even the 1 in 100s, which are just stunning, they're going for 40 or 50 bucks. I mean, really, these ratios that you would expect a little bit more traction out of, the demand is there, but the supply is meeting it. And that's why we're not seeing the price skyrocket, but people can get it.
Something we are seeing this last week is a spike of 133% on Invincible 19, the first appearance of Battlebeast, as well as a spike of 367% of Invincible 120, the death of Battlebeast. Invincible hype is real. The original Invincible run had some print runs that were as low as like 9 to 5,000 units sold. And some of these variants I would expect to be near that range.
If you figure 400,000 books and 1 in 100 variants, that's 4,000 1 in 100s were out there for just the print run alone. I mean, if you've got original Invincible books, I mean, it makes sense why a lot of these Invincibles from the first run are spiking. If we're going to see a Battlebeast animated series, it's going to be hot. And people are definitely proving that this is a character that they like. This is a comic book they are willing to get behind. And this book is definitely going nowhere. It's moving forward.
Did you get any of the blind bags from Battlebeast #1? I want to know in the comments section what you pulled. And of course, as always,
Geek responsibly.
enough said. And that's the end of the video, but we have some giveaways to announce. If your phone number ends in 5608, 961 7490 or 0752, check your phones. We text you through our SMS, our text message group, and that's where we pull our giveaway winners from. It's random, and once you're in for life.
And the final winner, Charlie Serrano. Check your phone, bud. You might have won something.
Let's do another 5 giveaways of a Dallas Fan Expo exclusive Ultimate Spider-Man number 17 trade dress by Miko Swyan, debuting on the convention floor or being sent to you courtesy of us for joining the SMS group on comictom.com. We'll see you next week.